My two comments about this is that for those listening, I don't think it was really specified at the start of the meeting. This is just a finance meeting. I know it was said that there's not much on the agenda, but that was just for the finance meeting. So if anyone heard that and was confused, that's why. Just a small issue. And then a question to direct toward city staff and leadership. With all those trees that fell last week, are we going to charge everyone who had trees fall to take care of the problems? Is there going to be some sort of leniency program? Because I know a lot of people had trees fall on their houses, near their houses, from their yards, some city trees. And it was said that they are working with city to take care of, but a lot of them aren't sure if that's going to happen, and they're going to have to either sit and let them rot until November, or they're going to have to pay to deal with the appointment. And I'm hoping that's being taken care of too. Thank you. I'd like to start out with reminding everyone on the call that the residents of Bay City were given less than 5 hours to review a 230-page budget document before the first budget meeting. Some of the things in there include a $512,000 increase to street funds with very little detail what it was going for. There's also an increase of $1.35 million to electric, $822,000 for water. Electric has major capital outlays listed, but not totally explained in the packet. Only major explanation for water increase was the 13-cent unit increase that was being read tonight. There's an increase in $1.08 million for healthcare and another $173,000 for healthcare savings funds over last year. Other questions include why we are still paying $687,000 for both Liberty and Independence bridges, even though we have sold them. There was no explanation for this in any of the 3 budget meetings. We're still showing $625,000 in capital outlays for Lafayette Bridge over the next 2 years, but MDOT has said they're not going to work on it, so why are we putting cash into a dead project? Total general funds still show $4 million in other services, and in that a good portion that is still undefined. When will a plan be released for the new infrastructure fund? When will it be included as a specialized fund? If the check has been cashed, you can at least show that it's there. Even if you haven't discussed a plan or deferred to staff for a plan, you can show the money is actually there. It took 2 meetings plus a public post to get any sort of answers to why it doesn't show. It's separate, but it should still be there. Your initial May release showed an increase of 32% for licenses and permits income and 76% for interest and rent for revenue in the general fund. But were those numbers adjusted for decreases in events on businesses due to the COVID pandemic? We have leaders in the city who posted that it is in this difficult time that they are meeting with or support changes to decrease inequality in this country. But the city budget, as the initial May release, showed an increase to all city public safety of $240,000, putting the public safety department's total amount of general fund to $12,740,059, or 62% of the total general fund. As the budget that was released in May but not updated before the public hearing tonight, we've seen initiatives to change how our police operate within our communities. We've seen large peaceful protests in our city multiple times in the past month, looking for change and true equality, and we can make sure that what happens by taking some initiative. We have a proclamation statement added off the informal agenda, but what real action is being taken right now? As for the people at Strong Towns, who some of you on the commission like to bring up as only when it's convenient for standard city planning, has said that a city budget is too important to be left to the professionals, and that having those who normally have no voice in the budget process be given a seat at the table and allowed to give feedback when it is actually given into a plan. Giving the citizens of this town ample information on all aspects of city finances instead of giving information on including giving information on assets, general ledger accounts, and routine expense information that's currently hidden behind FOIA payrolls, bureaucratic wait times, and things of confidentiality. The city commission and leadership could swallow some of their pride and see if others in the community can think outside the box. I've spent the last 3 years trying to get more information before the budget has passed in each session, and I've gotten the following responses. 1. You don't know what you're talking about. 2. All the information you're asking for can be FOIA'd. 3. The rest of the information isn't necessary to make decisions. And 4. That it would be too complex. But do you know what happened each time? Come public input time the next year's fiscal budget, I'm told that 1. If you're just looking at the packet, everything you need is there. 2. You can FOIA the whole thing after we pass it. 3. Just attend all the budget meetings and you'll understand. 4. We give you enough information. It's not our fault if you don't like what we give you. Now there's an asterisk on that one. As to number 1, I have done the first and no, everything isn't there. As to number 2, last year I FOIA'd the entire budget after it passed, but that's not helpful because it's already done. When I asked around this year, I was told that it likely couldn't be done because it wouldn't be reliable information as the information is subject to change. As to number 3, I attended all 3 meetings this year, and guess what? That didn't really help either. When will the bar for transparency for those of us not in your position stop moving? Now, the last one in the overall attitude of what citizens of this town actually hear from the responses they get from City Hall, and have been for decades and part of the reason why so many people have animosity towards city government. Now, how do I know this information could be easily published in an easy-to-use location every year? Simple. I went to college for accounting, and I know the city uses a system that allows reporting to happen at the click of a button. I also know the city's website could allow plugins to post said report. If we can't do that, then each commissioner needs to re-evaluate why they are in their seats to begin with, as they aren't serving the citizens. You are serving your own self-interest in improving your profiles and being part of the good old kids club by perpetuating a system of disenfranchisement and stonewalling of city's residents, or that's just the way it is. If you want technical criticism of ideas from your citizens like you actually should be, that they actually should be embarrassed by voting for a budget without giving the public the time of day to look at this stuff. This speech will be sent to the after this meeting to the Attorney General's public request line for guidance on what else I need to do. This is getting ridiculous, and that is my time. Just wrote some of the things that went down in the meeting. Apparently they couldn't hear me, so I had to send them a text, but the email's already sent to the Attorney General, so we'll see if we get a response from that, see what other steps I need to take as a member of the public to be able to get full access to the budget beforehand before they pass it. Obviously they didn't hear any of it, or else someone should have made some sort of motion. Other things that happened, they are working on something maybe to cover trees that fell during the storm last week. No clue if that's actually going to come through or not, or if we're going to get an actual answer. The sidewalk and road repairs along 34th Street that the railroad's being pulled starting this week. That is all going to be covered by state funds, and those state funds are going to cover everything. So no city funds is going to be used for that at this point. There's no talk about it. We had 4 marijuana items pulled off the agenda by Commissioner Ribbett. They all passed by vote 5-3, so there's no need for a veto or anything to overrule a no pass on those. We also had 2 statements come in from the informal agenda, so from the first meeting, or discussion from commissioners before the first meeting. One for a statement on COVID for federal school funding for Bay City schools, schools in Bay City, and they passed that unanimously. And another one about racial issues in the community and a statement on that, and that also passed unanimously. That's about it for commentary tonight. You know what my stance is on the budget itself. There's not enough information for any realistic person to make actual determinations on, and that's just wrong. So with that wonderful thing, we'll see if Attorney General actually responds to me, a single person in the abyss of 10 million in Michigan. So have a good night, everyone.